Hi, I'm Javaune Simpson and welcome back to Speak Up. Now for today's topic, we're talking about Hi, I'm Javaune Simpson and welcome back to Speak Up. Now for today's topic, we'll be talking about the sad state of our nation. This is something that I would have spoken about like probably from the starting of Speak Up really on YouTube, and it's something that sadly it feels as though we're getting nowhere with it in a sense. And it's the whole issue of women and children being abused, and not only abused but killed, murdered, and in some drastic ways. I can't understand it. No matter how much as psychology I try to apply to it, it's like you can't understand it really and truly. And I'll give you some backstory for those of you who don't necessarily know what I'm talking about specifically. So recently, on Wednesday in the morning, there was a young lady by the name of Jackson who left out to go to work. However, it is said that she did not actually get to work physically, right? And this prompted persons to, be worried, of course, because of course it is that you usually move from point A to point B within a particular time frame, and with this world being as crazy as it is, of course persons are going to get worried, immediately. And so persons were worried. Of course, they would have made a police report. Family, would have made a police report of somebody missing. And so, upon coming home on Thursday night, I saw, this image of a young lady, of Jackson, of course, and that she was missing. And so I shared it, as I usually do, way too often to her, way too often. But I'll talk about that probably a little bit later in the video. When I was sharing, I felt emotional about the whole thing, and this is something that would usually happen. See a child missing, I feel disheartened by it. I feel disheartened, especially when it is that I see a female is missing, because it's almost as if my years of experience or my years of hearing traumatic stories start playing out in my head, and I start playing. It's like I start playing out different things that might be happening at this very moment, and I was prompted to say, "Oh God, please just let it be that she's alright," as I often do when I see persons who are missing. And just I still feel some emotions towards it. I'm still angry, still upset about it, still feeling sad about everything, and I know that I will be for a very long time. Not because of just Jackson, but because of it is something that is consistently happening in our society. I remember talking to a cousin, and I was talking about all these things that are taking place in our society, right? Because I posted on Facebook, saying that I'm tired, and because that's just how I felt, spiritually and emotionally. I just felt tired, really. And I posted that, and persons were reacting to it. Persons were commenting, asking what it is, and I posted that and showed them, what I was actually reacting to. And persons would have shown similar sentiment towards this thing that is taking place, this injustice that is taking place in our society. Because I wanted you to have a clear picture of what it is that I'm about to say, right? Or to have a better understanding of what it is that I'm about to say. See, as a nation, I feel that we're on a pathway to destruction. Many of us might feel as though destruction is already taking place. I believe that you can actually get worse. I think that there's worse to get, and I think that that's exactly where we're heading. If it is that we don't stand up as a nation and say, "Here, what? Enough is enough." And enough is enough is more than just a statement coming from your mouth. Saying enough is enough actually then means that we'll now have to become more vigilant as a nation. We'll now have to become more vigilant as people. So no longer can we just be walking in the road and be walking in the road because of us only. And no, we're watching our back, so we're trying to watch our front of it too, right? So we watch the back and we watch the front in front of it as well, and side of it too, because people are all over, trying to harm us at any given time. As the Bible would say, be careful of nothing. We have to become more vigilant now in terms of saying, look on the females around us, the young men around us, because many of them are not safe, and the predators are right there. And I've always thought about that, the mere fact that some of these predators are people in which you would have spoken to, you would have passed on the road, you would have probably said good morning, good evening, good afternoon to, whatever it is. Persons in which you would have shared an office space with, in which you would have gone to the bank with, all of these things, and the mere fact that persons can now, harm people in such a terrible way, and be then living amongst us as if everything is alright, that makes me uncomfortable. I think about the fact that we're at a place where females are afraid to walk on the road. It shouldn't be a case where, as human beings, we're living in a country that we were born in, right? And we're still afraid to walk on the very streets. And a fourth street then. Our street then. We're afraid to walk on it. And it's not only females who are actually fearful, right? We have males out there who are fearful as well, right? I have a lot of female friends. You persons who know me know that I have mostly female friends. The male friends that I have, can count upon my hand from two hand. Probably. And over the years, I would have been, afraid for a lot of them, right? Because you have a lot of them, they have to get up to go to work in the early mornings. A lot of them, they don't drive. They might have a boyfriend that drives them, every now and then, but other than that, they have to go back and forth for themselves as well. And sometimes you probably drop somebody at work and they perpetrated at work. You probably drop somebody at school and they perpetrated at school. Just in 2019, I believe, late 2019, I remember a story, or it was early 2020, I believe. I don't remember which one. That's when the news actually came out. When the action took place was probably 2019. Yes, probably about there. There was this assistant teacher, and this is just a side story. So there was an assistant teacher that raped a 15-year-old. The newspaper article stated that this gentleman had sex with a 15-year-old, which has me say a rape. And so we're in a nation that needs to be sensitized about many of these things, the statements in which we make in general, right? The statements in which we make that actually promote certain things, promote certain actions in our society. Because if it is that you're going to consider, if it is that you're going to look at a situation and that's before the court, and the reason why it's before the court is the mere fact that this individual is below the age of consent, which is 16, which is craziness. So then you understand that the legal system needs to be adjusted as well. But anyways, getting back to it, the article would have said, having sex with a 15-year-old. And so when this case actually was as a matter of fact, he had sex with a 15-year-old, and it was on the school compound. So imagine, you're doing something that's illegal, and you do it on the school compound while school was in session. He raped a 15-year-old on the school compound while school was in session. This is a story I believe I would have probably spoken about here and SpeakUp before, some time ago. But I made mention of it because I wanted to paint a picture of what is taking place in our society and how it is that we need to change these things. Because what I'm about to say now is one of the bigger problems that I find that we have as a nation. When this was presented to the court, according to the law, for somebody who is in a position of authority, such as, let's say in this context, an assistant teacher or teacher, that has the authority to tell a student to do something, and the student will most likely want to do that thing because the teacher is a teacher telling you to do it. You understand what I'm saying? So you have authority. That's the picture I'm just trying to paint. When this case was presented that the assistant teacher actually, raped the young lady on the school compound, when it was presented to the court, what happened was that he was supposed to get, as I say, when you're in an authoritative position, you're supposed to get, according to the law, you're supposed to get, I believe, 15 years, the least. This young man, was given, because I believe he's in his 20s, this young man was given 10 years, I believe. And because he already served 4 years, was it 4 years? Four? because he already served about 4 years or something like that in prison. They gave him, he was now going to serve 9 years and 7 months, I believe, if my math is correct. My math in the sound correct, so it probably should be 5 months and he would have already served in prison. I guess, something to that extent, right? Don't quote me on it exactly. Hear the rationale now, why the judge actually gave him less than he was actually supposed to get. Because this is what the news article said in it. So may I quote the news article. The judge felt that because he had a young daughter out there, he had a baby out there, they were trying to be lenient with him. Let me just make that sink in. So the court was trying to be lenient with a rapist who raped a 15-year-old, and they're being lenient with him because he has a daughter, a young daughter out there in society. Shouldn't the court actually be focusing on the victim that he actually raped, the individual in which he actually raped? Shouldn't the court be applying the facts, and only the facts, to the case and prosecuting him due to the facts that were presented to the court and sort him out accordingly? Give him the maximum. Because if it is that he was brave enough to rape an individual on the school compound while school was in progress, he deserved the years then. We ever talk about man have picnic outside? He might have very well taken away the option or choice of that young lady to have children in the future, because who knows, she probably can't have no relationship again due to the emotional trauma that she went through. And you're going to talk about the fact that you need to give somebody leniency because you want to pick me outside. You might very well be helping out this young picnic where you have out there. You might very well be helping her out by protecting her from this perpetrator, because who knows, this perpetrator might very well harm her, even if it's his child. Come on, let's not act oblivious to the facts that are happening in our country. We have persons who are raping their daughters. We have cousins who are raping them cousin. Brother who rape them sister. You understand what I'm saying? So why are we acting as if we don't know certain things that take place? It happened downtown, it happened uptown. It happened all over the place. But yet still, whenever it is that the facts are presented before us, we pretend as if we don't know what is taking place. We pretend as if it's a new thing to it. Jasmine Dean would have gone missing for over a year now. Over a year now, am I checking it correctly? Perhaps over a year. Father still upset, still crying, still trying to be hopeful. Can you imagine? Someone will say daughter come home for over a year and the man is still trying to be hopeful. Can you just imagine how much pain the man in? The authorities would have found persons with things that belong to the individual, and none of them get charged with it, or accessory or whatever it is. We're not denying, we're professionals, we can't talk about the thing here. But I'm just saying, there's nothing in the law books that you can actually charge these individuals with some substantial amount of years for them to really go think about it and say, alright then, or you at least say to them, say, yo, is it you tell where you know, or you get charged with murder and we don't know, first, second, third degree, we don't know. Many of us go to college, we study certain things to become police officers, to become lawyers, to become psychologists, to become counselors, whatever it is, nurses, doctors, whatever it is, politicians, whatever it is, as I said before. And quite often, some of us, well, not quite often, I'll say some of us, we study these things because we earn some money in it, and that's it. We don't have any passion for it. And so when we step into them things here, so we become lawyers, we become doctors, we become nurses, we become psychologists, we become counselors, we become teachers, whatever it is, but we don't have the passion for it. And so because we don't have the passion for it, people suffer at the end of the day just because of us. And because we would have helped 1 and 2 people, we feel like, yeah man, we're doing the Lord's work. But how many others have suffered because of us? These things are things that we need to talk about in our society. These things are the things that we need to change in our society, because it has far past the place where you're supposed to know where at all where females are afraid to walk in the own country, in a middle day, early morning. Yet this young lady was leaving to work back from about 7 o'clock and she didn't reach her work. She left from point A to the point B, and we don't even know how close to point B she reached. I've always had this idea, and just recently I was at the bar and I talked to the bar and the bar was like, yo, and it was so surprising to hear him actually, he said it, basically said it, he actually said it before me, but it's something that I already had in my mind. And so when he said it, I was like, not that he's not a good person or anything, but I'm just saying, yo, it's just surprising that another person actually thought about this as well. And I feel like, persons in the field of transportation need to be held accountable too. All of us need to be held accountable. I'll say that straightforwardly. But when it is that you can have somebody going missing on your route as a taxi man or as a bus driver or whatever it is, they need to have some accountability too. Earlier when Jasmine Dean disappeared and persons were trying to ascertain how it is that she actually, traveled on a nightly basis. You ask the taxi man and them don't know nothing. You ask the bus man and them don't know nothing. Nobody don't know nothing. This is not somebody who would have just looked like the usual person. It's just somebody who you ever kind of wanted. Come on. I can just imagine. I've seen her in picture and I'm like, if I see somebody like that in actual life, that's somebody you should actually remember, because number one, just man on her body, she's wearing glasses, she has this innocent look, and this is the thing too, you find that society is preying on these persons that look innocent and persons that seem to, can't defend themselves. Because me have some Taliban friend where some man no think twice around. Them say certain things to them and within quick seconds, my friend just dismantle them in our words alone. And them can't dare things to them and go one step to them. But in the taxis and the buses, you have some perverts preying on people. I'm not talking about us adolescents alone or college people. I'm talking about people in a primary school, high school. Have you ever been out there in society and just hear how some man talk about some little girl, and their justification is the fact that they feel like the girl that man already, so then must be another man who add to tally to. That's how the country we live in. A lot of us have some so-called brethren. We talk some low things. Some things we need to burn up, as we would say in Jamaica. Say some derogatory things about people, about young girls. Whether it be that they're in high school or in primary school. I remember when I was in primary school, there were girls that would have boasted about having boyfriends that were in their 20s. I'm talking about, I was in primary school. We were at an average of 12 in 6th grade. Well, then again, not an average at 12, an average of 11, but those girls were actually older than the average persons in our class, because and we're pretty big as well in body. So we were like 12, the most 13, and they were in 13, right? The most 13. And they had boyfriends who were in their 20s, early 20s. And the reality of it is that some parents know about these situations. And I know, just use the word parents loosely a while ago. Because I think the word, a parent should, father and mother should come with some accountability as well. Yesterday I was thinking about doing this. As a matter of fact, I would have recorded 2 videos before this. And I had to end up deleting them this morning. Because I wasn't necessarily comfortable with it. I felt that there was more to say, more to be said. I wanted to include other things in this video, but I didn't. The reason being is because I didn't want to focus on the negative aspects of things and not focus on other things. But then again, I didn't want to focus on some foolishness that people are talking about in this video. I wanted to do a video by itself talking about the situation that we have. Perhaps in another video I'll talk about that issue. But this is something that needs to change Jamaica. We cannot continue the way. We cannot continue the way. We cannot grow up in a place like this where we're afraid to walk on the road. We can't grow up in a place like this. We can't raise family in a place like this. You expect people to live in a place like this? Happily in a place like this? We're approaching a 2030 vision. And the 2030 vision is looking very 2060 to me. And that's if we even make up our mind for changing it at all. And that's if God doesn't present himself here on earth before that. We have lost our way in a significant way. And for some of us, I know I hear some of the Christians might be like, yo, you man, pray about it, man. But one of my issues is that if it is that we're praying for change, but never, hope to build that change, then what are we doing? Some of us are talking about heaven is my home and the problems of this world is not mine. A moment of silence for all of you. I'll just give a moment of silence for all of you. If it is that we can protect or try to protect the people in which are around us, even ourselves as individuals on this earth currently, and we're trying to, fix our minds on something in the future that is not yet here, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a pastor that, leading some, sheep, the people, to the promised land. But at the end of the day, you have a wolf or a set of wolves that are attacking the sheep as they walk along a pathway. And so the pastor might look back and see 20 sheep first. But the wolf came and, attacked 2. By the time we reach the destination, probably a 6 leave back. When we could have tried to help the situation, cauterize the bleeding, if that's the word. Try to help the situation as best as possible. And try to save some souls so we can save some souls. If you get what I'm saying. So save some souls so we can save some souls. Because if at the end of the day when anybody preach to, we're going to preach it. We're going to try and, try and save. If the Jasmine Deans are leaving, if the Kanye Jacksons are leaving this earth, God forbid, Jasmine Dean, see, we can't even talk about it. We don't even know what Jasmine Dean is. We don't see nothing to say Jasmine Dean alive or dead. We don't know. Up until this point, over a year after. Can you imagine? Tell you what, I'll leave it here. Much love, God bless. Thank you for watching Speak Up. I'm Javaune Simpson. Take care.